Hello, and welcome to another Elsword guide video. The topic for today's video will be enhancing. So, what is enhancing? It is the game mechanic that is used for creating stronger gear, that being weapons and armor. It is a vast and complex gear augmentation system that bears a fair bit of explanation. So let's start at the beginning. You encounter this game mechanic as soon as you enter the first town, Reuben, and speak to the item shop NPC named Anne, who also acts as the village blacksmith. There, you can look through her early game wares by clicking on the store tab, as well as checking out the initial gear the game gives you and how it stacks up to. You will see the option to repair your gear if it has decreased in durability, and finally, we get to the enhance option. When you click on this tab, your cursor will change form into a sword, and two windows will open up. Your character window and your item tab inventory window. The items you can enhance with this mechanic pair with the 5 character slots for your weapon, top piece, bottom piece, gloves, and shoes equipment slots. In order to begin enhancing, for example, your weapon, you need 120 ED and a blessed enhancement stone, both of which you most likely have gathered after completing your first story dungeon in the game. Click on your +0 weapon and watch it reach +1 enhancement level. Congratulations, you have enhanced your first piece of equipment in the game. Now where do we go from here? Of course, the enhancement system is multi-layered, with many obtuse and tricky tips that you'll need to make the most out of it. So let's go over the basics. Enhancing changes the number located right after the plus sign and the top and first line that describes the statistics and classification of your gear item. Some of the things enhancing can do will be to increase the number, to decrease the number, or outright break your gear depending on the circumstances. When the number goes up, the raw stats of your weapon and armor will increase. Conversely, the stats will decrease when it goes down. So, with that in mind, you are probably asking, why worry about armor stats when I can just enhance my weapon and be good from there? Well, other than defense and HP, that could come in handy in a pinch.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Some armors have special stats and abilities that are directly influenced by its enhancement level. This started with Elria Note Gear having the all skill damage 5 times enhancement level stat that you could apply with an L tier, which could increase the all skill damage stat beyond the normally acquired highest percent tier of 44%. At +9, this would reach 45%. Of course, the whales and the galactic squid took this a step further and went to +10, +11, and even +12 enhancement level gloves. Elria Note Armor also lets you have a bonus tier slot at +9 and +10. So, you best believe the whales and the galactic squid pushed it to the min-max limit when gear allows for things like that. So do not underestimate what your gear is capable of once you are established. Just some food for thought, but let's return back to the basics. Let's go over the range of possibilities that can arise when you enhance multiple times. Starting at +0, you can currently rise up to +13 as of this patch cycle of Elsword. Of course, there are obstacles that the system will throw in your way from making this journey too easy. Namely, lots of RNG, which stands for Random Number Generator for the uninitiated. A fancy way of saying random chance or luck. There are pockets of enhancement difficulty range tiers that start from so easy to obtain a snake with no hands could do it, and progressively get more difficult from there. So, from +0 to +3 is rather easy. From +4 to +7 is fairly normal. From +8 through +10 is challenging. And then we get to +11, which is high difficulty. +12 is extreme difficulty. And +13 is borderline impregnable. Don't even bother trying. So, the main benefits and risks to enhancing are as follows. From +2 to +3 and onwards, the upgrade attempt may be unsuccessful, resulting in no change to the enhancement level. From +3 to +4 and onwards, the attempt may result in a downgrade, which will reduce the enhancement level by 1, such as dropping from +2 to +3. From +6 and +7 and onwards, the attempt may result in a reset, which will reduce the enhancement level back to +0. From +8 to +9 and onwards, the attempt may result in a break. A broken piece of equipment can no longer be equipped or sold until it is fixed with a Blessed Restoration Scroll. From +11 and +12 and onwards, Blessed Fluorite ores that prevent downgrading and resetting can no longer be used. You will then have to use Blessed Fluorite crystals, which can only prevent resetting. With this information in mind, the most reasonable highest enhancement level without any tools, items, or kaching involved is +8 currently. It will cost a fair amount of ED and Blessed Enhancement Stones to go from +0 to +8, but it is the highest enhancement level you can reach without breaking your weapon. However, you will reset the weapon quite a number of times before getting there, so make sure you have a large amount of ED and enhancement stones in tow to attempt this. It may even be in your best interest to stick to +7 or even +6 depending on your reserves, so play it smart and be wary. To reach higher levels safely, we will have to explore the advanced items and techniques. So, a funny strategy people like to use is going to a different blacksmith NPC for luck. Each person has their own personalized NPC that they believe gives them the best luck. However, what they don't know is that the best strategy is to use the pre-patch English voice Hannah Blacksmith NPC in Velder for all of your enhancement needs.
Oh, are you? I'm sure Lenfad mentioned you. Thank you. Come back again soon. Good day. Welcome to the smithy. Please, say hello to Lenfad. Say hello to Lenfad. Say hello to Lenfad.
No, I'm joking. The first item to go over is the Blessed Fluorite ore, which enables a protected enhancement on weapons and armor. This prevents a reset or downgrading, but still allows breaking. There is also an armor-only variant. This item does not work for enhancement levels +11 and beyond. The next item will be the Blessed Fluorite Crystal, as mentioned earlier, enabling special enhancement that prevents an equipment from resetting to 0. The El's Hammer is the next item. It is an item that doubles your chance to get a successful enhancement level. Although, in my experience, this has been rather inconsequential, so use at your own discretion. The next item will be the Blessed Restoration Scroll, which will restore any broken piece of gear back to usability. With these items together in various combinations, you can push beyond +8 safely up to +9, +10, and even +11, if you're sane. Before we go beyond the realm of sane enhancement opportunities, let's also cover the blacksmith profession system, briefly. The blacksmith is one of 3 professions, along with treasure hunter and alchemist. You can choose once your character reaches level 40. Once you're a blacksmith, you have the options to advance enhance and advance dismantle. Advance enhancing has advantages over normal enhancing, as you now have access from only enhancing 1 level at a time to enhancing 2 or even 3 levels at a time in a single enhancement. As you level the profession, you have a higher chance of making the super enhancement activate. So now it is possible to go from +1 to +3, or from +7 to +10 in a single advanced enhancement. However, you can only skip to +10. After that, it's back to 1 level of enhancing at a time. This means that +7 is the most ideal enhancement level for trying to skip, as you can reach +9 or +10 in a single shot. Whereas +8 can only skip to +10, of course this is still useful. However, if you have a +9 or higher equipment piece, it would be in your best interest to just use normal enhancing to save on resource consumption. Special items are needed to advance, enhance, and dismantle. Along with the usual ED and Blessed Enhancement Stones cost, you need treasure hunter items called Mithril Gemstones, Mithril Sculptures, and Mithril Crystals. Each item is used for a specific tier of enhancement level. Advanced enhancing has the same downsides as normal enhancing, so be vigilant, and don't forget to pair the previously mentioned items with this feature, so you do not drop a level, reset to 0, or break your weapon or armor piece. Now, there is another way to increase your enhancement level rather easily if you have superior luck or money. We shall now go over the Enhancement Amulets, along with now touching on Advanced Dismantling for the blacksmith profession. Amulets are used to instantly acquire the enhancement level it says it provides by placing it on the gear of your choice. There are even weapon and armor only variants of the amulets, so be careful when buying or creating your amulets to know what you can and can't use them on. The easiest way to acquire an amulet is through game events and quests, as you have to spend no ED or money to acquire them, but usually requires patience, in-game attendance, and in-game play. The second method is to buy an amulet from a player, in either a trade or from the item board. However, make sure that the price you are paying is not unreasonable for the current market standards. So, stay economically educated and beware ignorance, or else you'll be out of ED real fast. Before we get to the third method, which is to make your own, some alternative methods are to roll for one, the Ice Burner feature. Though this usually isn't your desired prize, it is a welcome outcome nonetheless. Also, opening certain cubes and boxes, such as Fill Boss cubes, will net you an amulet at the low price of good RNG. Returning to the third method of generating your own enhancement amulet, there are two primary ways: utilizing special events and advanced dismantling for the blacksmith profession. The event method is rather inconsistent by way of frequency that you can utilize it, as it requires your full attention and attendance, as well as plenty of preparation long in advance. However, prepared, it can be highly lucrative, especially if you are willing to spend real money on the game. Each in-game amulet event is going to have its own special event details, but generally you want everything you need for enhancing prepared and ready, which means a surplus of blessed enhancement stones, ED, blacksmith treasure hunted materials, and these, which you usually can buy discounted during the event period, which are the fluorites, hammers, and restoration scrolls, which we went over earlier. Advanced dismantling is the other method, and is fairly simple to utilize. You just choose a high enhancement level piece of gear to dismantle, preferably once you are a high level blacksmith, and then dismantle. I should note you will also need a lot of open inventory space to begin advanced dismantling, where this notification will pop up constantly. Getting on your nerves every time. With advanced dismantling, this is going to require heavy investment into the blacksmith profession, as your level will affect how successful you are at retrieving amulets from the gear. Once you reach blacksmith level 8, you will then start seeing the highest return on the investment in the blacksmith profession. However, leveling a blacksmith is extremely costly, with both time and money. Though, there is a chance you could create, with the Ale Anvil, a high enhancement level equipment piece, and advanced dismantling for free. This is not a viable long-term strategy, and should be done at your own discretion. However, if you have unwanted gear, or have found heavily discounted gear on the board, you can try your hand at advanced dismantling to see if you get a lucky amulet drop. With that, we are finally reaching the elite enhancement tiers. Plus 11, plus 12, and plus 13. These are well regarded as the endgame tier enhancement levels, and have even more so over the years become required in reaching the current in-game content. These are generally saved to be used on weapons, and for those with extreme wealth or fortitude, you can place it on armor. Usually starting with the gloves for the massive power boost from all skill damage, as mentioned earlier before. The enhancement tier here is mostly for the overindulgence in the realm of extraordinary fortune or incredible amounts of real capital poured into the game. While risking the already challenging to acquire plus 11 to get a plus 12 sounds dumb and not worth the trouble, attempting a plus 13 on the other hand is borderline mythical insanity, with only one currently residing in both the North American Solace server and international Gaia Elsword servers. Please gamble responsibly with your character's power. With that, we've covered the enhancement gear feature in Elsword. Unfortunately, there are a lot of players making fun of or putting down other players with low enhancement levels and combat power. My advice for this: just curb those guys. Ignore them and focus on having a good time in game. Seek out like-minded people who are just trying to improve at a reasonable rate, just like you. As well as, most importantly, having fun. For why continue playing a game if you're not having fun? If you'd like to talk to me, or any other players playing Elsword, you can join various Discords, for example. Mine, the official Reddit Discord, the official PvE Discord, and the official Elsword Discord. So with that, good luck with your enhancement chances, and have fun.